Hello and welcome to another beautiful edition of the Locker Room on Voice of the People TV. I am Jerry Apelioi and we've got a thrilling show for you today as it promises to be exciting with loads of action as far as the football world is concerned. Joining me today are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Maiwa. Makes a very interesting return and we're ready to break down all the action and share their hot takes on what's going down in the football world. Don't forget, you can subscribe. For those who are watching us via the YouTube channel live, you can turn on that notification bell also. Don't forget to call us via the WhatsApp number showing on your screen to join the conversation. And of course, for those who are watching us on LCL TV channel 264, that's where you get to also join the conversation via the WhatsApp number as well. All right, Ikechukwu, how are you doing? The Club World Cup is looking interesting, and the transfer business is getting more interesting as well. For those who are really doing business, not those who are hovering around, who are still announcing here we go on Johnny Evans. Since Johnny Evans, I've not heard anything.
Well, Jerry, good evening to our viewers. I agree with you that for those who are actually, doing real business, who have had their business locked, because of course you can actually be in the market without buying anything, and then again, every transfer window is an opportunity for every team to actually be in the market. So at the end of the day, it's actually what you actually get or what you actually acquire that separates you from those who just went to the market to get stuff. But the market is still very much open. I mean, up until the 1st of September, so a lot of players can still very much move. And of course, in the Club World Cup, yes, shocking results. Al Ali did a master, will I call it master stroke? Of course, it has to do with luck and of course a very.
When you say luck, I think it's master stroke because you must give it to Inzaghi, the coach of the Al Hilal side.
I'm not just going to say master stroke because their goalkeeper was superb. Man City squandered a lot of chances. They would have won that game easily. So I don't think on the balance of play that scoreline actually reflects what's actually happened. But then of course,
a master stroke shows that they overdid, how they outdid
themselves.
No, they outdid Manchester City because Man City took them for granted. I think Man City
squandered their chances. That's what happened.
That's what I'm saying.
Even when you don't take things for granted, you can still squander your chances. It's a very bad.
I think Man City were overconfident that whatever happens, they're going to win this game.
That's also something.
Yeah, because as at the first half, they were leading by a goal to nil. All they just need to come in the second half. They felt that this was just a game there for the taking, and of course, boom! From the first,
but Giannis Bono
the second half was brilliant. You must give it to the Al Hilal side. They came guns blazing in the second half.
Giannis Bono, the Moroccan,
of course, the Moroccan.
That guy is something else. I mean, the last time
I was surprised he made the move to Saudi League.
Well,
he's the top quality goalkeeper. They should have stayed in Europe at least to prove himself.
For goalkeepers, right? For goalkeepers, I think going to a league where it's still very much open is going to really help you because the more you actually get to save a lot of balls, it keeps you in shape, keep you in form.
Imagine he's doing that in Europe.
Yes, that's the thing. But then of course
in the Champions League.
Again,
a better place.
Yes, of course.
Imagine those saves were in the Champions League against the Manchester City.
The position of goalkeepers is quite very limited, right? So a good goalkeeper like Giannis Bono will not want to be second goalkeeper for any team in Europe at this point.
And of course, the competition in the
yes,
teams.
The goalkeeper spot is quite huge. And of course, if you also look at the number of teams in Europe and number of top teams in Europe that will be playing Champions League football, a good number of them have good goalkeepers. They have decent goalkeepers that would have made it, sort of saves.
Apart from Man United, anyway. Just to chip that, apart from Manchester United, I imagine Giannis Bono making those saves for Manchester United.
The last time I saw a decent goalkeeper, a top goalkeeper in Africa, right, is actually Vincent Nyama. Of course, we once had I think Mohamed El Hadari of Egypt. That guy is also very
saw
Idris
Kameni, the
Cameroonian. Yes, that's why I said the last time we had a decent goalkeeper like that in Africa is Vincent Nyama. And then, now we're having a very, very good shotstopper in Giannis Bono. I think it's a very good one.
Very good one. Very good one. Okay. Ikechukwu has just give us a peek into what we'll be talking about on the Locker Room today. And Maiwa gets to join us as well. I know he has been talking to Fabrizio to see if they can add the speculation of what's the name of the player going to Buemo. Speculation is no longer news. Yeah, sign the player. Yeah, I know how it feels anyway. Mario, it's great to have you join us on Locker Room.
Well, you know, it's always amazing to be here. You know, we are the king of speculation in this transfer window. We have been speculating everywhere. I hope we don't spend speculation until the season starts. But the thing is, I came in when we were talking about the Man City game. I think Guardiola needs to fire Ederson. Ederson was making a whole lot of that particular game. Some of the goals that were considered, yes, you want to blame the defenders. The defenders were out of place, but you want to question Ederson too. I think Ederson has dropped in form, and Guardiola seems to die on the Ederson horse. I think it's high time, you know, they begin to look for a replacement. Ederson has contributed, you know, to the downfall of Man City. Kudos to Al Hilal. They were very tactical yesterday. They were very clinical. Man City not. And you know, Al Hilal is in the next round of the competition. I'm hoping they go very far. If they can remove a Man City, let's see how far the Saudi Arabia club can go.
All right, let's see how far the Saudi Arabian clubs can go. And of course, it looks like the competition of the underdogs. And I'm even surprised that Chelsea fans are already saying this is their title. They've forgotten that PSG is still in this title race. Real Madrid is still in the race. Even Juventus, who's going to play Real Madrid, if they get to beat Real anyway, they are still in the race. So, I don't know, even Chelsea is just like one of the, will I say, the spices in the soup. So, you will have to find a way to come out at the end of the day. But let's start off from the home front, where it concerns most especially Nigerians, where in the last few hours, Juventus have made direct contact with the representatives of Victor Osimhen. They want the strikers, yes, for them to proceed with opening up transfer talks with Napoli. This information is by Sky Sport transfer expert Gianluca Di Marzio. The expert reported that Juventus are really serious about Victor Osimhen. And I know we've talked about Juventus before. They're not talking to Osimhen direct. Okay, young man, we're interested in your services. We're ready to break the bank for you. If you were Osimhen, Juventus, how interesting does it look for Osimhen?
Juventus is a bigger brand compared to Napoli. Napoli is just a team in good shape at this point. Their project seems to be the most attractive in Italy at this point, and that's exactly why they've been able to win the league twice in the last 4 years. But then it won't take anything away from the old ladies. They're actually, you know, the mainstay of the Italian Serie A. Perhaps, you know, there's also a project or a beginning of a project, and that's why they're actually looking at, you know, the service of Victor Osimhen. I mean, you cannot bring in a player like Victor Osimhen to Juventus when you don't have projects. That would be, you know, an insane thing to actually do. So it's a very good one for him to go back and then show the people of Naples that, you know, you're still the same guy that actually gave them the first league after over 30 years. Show the city of Naples that you're still the same guy who actually came to this city and then you love the city and of course the Italian fans that yes, you still have a lot, you know, to offer. See, the best way to actually shut people off, the best way to actually tell people who think, you know, you're not good enough to be part of their project is by going there and do exactly that thing they think you don't have again in you. Victor Osimhen, this is an opportunity for him because I don't think if this Juventus deal, you know, finally happens or it tends to be very, very serious at the end of the day, and then, you know, he fails to actually pick it. I don't think there's going to be any team around Europe that is going to be willing to actually match, you know, his weight demands. So this is an opening for him. I mean, we've been talking about him not going to Saudi. This is an opportunity for him to actually stay put in you know, one of the top 5 leagues in Europe. And of course, Juventus is also a very fantastic side. So yes, I'll really advise Victor Osimhen to actually, you know, make this move. Even if it means that his wage is going to be a little bit lower at the end of the day, I'll see, you know, I encourage him to actually go to Juventus.
All right, my Juventus option for Victor Osimhen at this point in time. Would you advise he makes the move?
Well, I mean, if Juventus are very serious for him, I think it would be advisable for him to make that particular move. First of all, he has been in Italy for over 2 years. He has acclimatized, and it is the same league. He's moving from one club to another club in the same league, and I think, you know, settling in in that particular league will not be a problem. He's a proven, title winner with Napoli, and he can do same with Juventus. Remember, they are going through a phase right now. Since Max Allegri left and he came back, they've not gotten their rhythm. They've had about three coaches in the last 18 months, and that shows how shaky the structure is at the moment. They're in a rebuilding phase. A whole lot of players are being let go, and a whole lot of players being coming in. I think Osimhen is very instrumental into their project, and that's the reason why they want somebody that can actually lead the line. If an Osimhen is playing in front, and they can sort out the midfield and the defensive situation for them. And also remember, one of the issues for last season, one of the reasons why Thiago Motta was fired from his job with Juve was because Juventus could not score goals. And Osimhen is a proven goal scorer. Thiago Motta was fired. The next coach came in. The trend continued, and they need somebody that can put in the goals. And Osimhen will be a good option for them. The big question is this: will Osimhen take money, or take presence in Europe? I mean, Saudi, they are offering more money than Juventus. Will Osimhen be tempted by the Saudi offer, or will he stay in Europe to fight for a place in a top club in Europe? The question lies with Osimhen, and I hope he chooses rightly.
All right, and of course the question is: are they going to give him European presence? Is he going to? Juventus is no longer the top club like it used to be back in the days. Is Victor Osimhen still going to be in the spotlight playing for Juventus? Because like for like now, Napoli and Inter Milan have become the big boys. Even maybe Atalanta. Juventus have been struggling in terms of their coaching, the set of players, the dream, the ambition of the club side, not as big as even Napoli's ambition to even go far in Europe and even defend the Scudetto. But what are the ambitions of Juventus for a player like Victor Osimhen? Does this suit the Victor Osimhen's next chapter? That is the question.
So the big question is, does this suit his chapter? Yes, it does. If you look at Victor Osimhen, look at how he's actually been able to actually establish himself in Italy. It tells you everything you need to know about the character of the player. And now about Juventus. The thing is this, right? Empires, the biggest of empires at some point crumbles, and new age will definitely emerge at every point in time. Before the arrival of Jurgen Klopp, Liverpool, looked for league title, won league title for over how many years? Over 30 years. They couldn't even get a league title. But it doesn't change the fact that Liverpool is a big brand in English football. Now they've come back to where they're supposed to be. So it takes somebody to actually reignite a project. It takes somebody to actually start that journey. And yes, this is exactly one of those very, very key steps that any club that wants to start a project would look at. So, okay, this is a meaningful project about to start. You bring one of the top strikers in the world at this point to Juventus. It says a lot about the ambition of the group. Now, if you look at Juventus before now, number of players they've signed, the attackers they've not had a player in Victor Osimhen's profile. They've not had a player in the top 8 Ballon d'Or, in the last 10 years. It says a lot about the kind of players they've actually been bringing into the team. I'm not talking about the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, who actually were already a big player. In fact, they moved to Juventus. I'm talking about players who actually are still very much growing, and then they've actually by what they've been able to achieve, hit the ceiling. The likes of
at least they have Vlahovic. Only that he failed to deliver.
See, Jerry, we are not talking about speculation here. We're not talking about players who have not lived up to the billing. We're talking about players who have proven to be who they. If Vlahovic had lived up to who the media and everybody talked about him when he actually started off, the idea of Victor Osimhen would not even be popping up at this point, because he would have actually established himself as a top player, and because of Vlahovic, they would have been able to actually bring in other top players into the team. Yeah. But because he has failed to actually live up to the billing, they have to look outside for somebody who is a seasoned goal scorer. And of course, another advantage Victor Osimhen will be coming with in Juventus is the fact that he's not coming to Italy to learn the rope again. He already understands how it works in Italy. He understands how the atmosphere is. He understands how players are actually approached. He understands basically everything in Italy. So it's going to be easy for him. It's going to be a big win for him, and also for Juventus. Now, this for me is what I see is the beginning of a new project in Italy. This is exactly what I see, because if he joins Juventus, definitely Juventus will not be bringing a player of Victor Osimhen's quality without adding other top quality players. Of course, if you also look at transfers across Europe, you see how a team will go for one key player, and then before you know it, one or two other players will join. Look at what AS Monaco is actually doing at this point. They've gotten Ansu Fati as alongside Paul Pogba. Yes, these guys might not actually be at the top of their career at this point, but of course it brings in a fresh look to the Napoli's Monaco side. It shows that they have ambition, because at that level they definitely will be able to compete. Now exactly, these guys are actually looking at competing at the highest level, and of course you have to bring the players that are also at that level. And Victor Osimhen is one of the best strikers in the world at this point. And of course, it says a lot about what they are bringing in.
I'm glad you're saying that, because I know on a very different platform you will say something different about the standard of Victor Osimhen. I remember when that unknown player said that. Anyway, I don't want to remember that day. Anyway, that's in the past. I think with this new politician we are seeing today, I think the election is looking good for you. Anyway, let's talk about the Super Falcons of Nigeria. And of course, one man, the former coach of the side, Randy Wardrum, says that the Super Falcons will be champions of Africa again because of the talent of the players and not the coaching. The Super Falcons are gunning for the 10th WAFCON title in Morocco and will be led by interim coach Justin Madugu. And the Texan, talking about Wardrum, led Nigeria to finish fourth at the previous WAFCON, also staged in Morocco. He has now seriously questioned the quality of the coaching the team will enjoy at Morocco 2024. This is a man that was given the opportunity to coach the team. He could not win it. He only managed to lose the third place match. And is he the same person that is now telling us that the coaching crew is not good enough? He should leave our Madugu alone. Let him go and try. I think Madugu has won it before, if I'm correct. Yeah, someone who has won it before, he has same is even on an interim basis, and the team is doing well. They played Portugal, and they held their own, and they played Ghana, and of course 3-1. With what I'm seeing so far, I'm seeing a breath of fresh air in the team. What Wardrum was just doing was just painting the obvious failures during his time. There were a lot of topsy-turvy situations. I know his contract situation was not secured. He was distracted throughout his time. Please, he should not distract the coach anymore. I think this will be the last time we'll hear from Wardrum, if there's be any case. But Maiwa, what's Wardrum's case with this team? I think it's just like someone who has left his ex-girlfriend, but he's still jealous about her new relationship, and he can't get over it.
Well, in as much as you can't clothe the NFL with a cloth of glory because they mess up a whole lot.
Yes.
I think Wardrum is more like somebody that saw his ex doing better with a new boyfriend and is now biting his fingers, and that's just it. In as much as I do not support how NFL cheated him. I think Wardrum should leave the girls alone. It's so unfortunate that he's saying that against somebody who has done so well so far. I mean, Madugu was in charge of our qualifications, and he got us the ticket. And the matches he has played so far, he has been able to deliver results. Yes, in as much as I feel there are some things that we need to tweak. The game against Portugal exposed a whole lot of things, and we need to tweak some things. Yes, I agree. But on the African scene, I think, the girls have the quality to do it. I don't think it's right for Wardrum to be throwing the work that Madugu has done, to be throwing inside the trash. That is not how to treat, your colleague. And it's so unfortunate that Wardrum is doing this. I think it would do everybody a whole lot of good if Wardrum would just, probably keep quiet and let Super Falcons be. He's no longer the coach. He should focus on his job in the US. And probably focus on getting the 14 months arrears that the NFF owe him. That's just it.
All right. Ikechu, it's like the man is still in love with the Super Falcons. He's still in love with his ex-girlfriend.
Okay, so one thing about what Wardrum said, and this is where I'm actually looking at it from. You see, yes, he might not have given us the desired result that we expected. Of course, helping us to win a championship and then perhaps cementing our place as top teams in the world. But then there's something very important about what he's saying, and this is it, right? I think at this point we should start looking at the Falcons away from African scene, right? And this is one thing that a lot of African businesses have really suffered over the years. You see, when you see mobile applications that is being built, you see, for example, WhatsApp. People who built WhatsApp didn't build WhatsApp because they want WhatsApp to be an American-based company. They want WhatsApp to be global. So when you're building a project, you don't want to build a project that is, Nigeria-centric. And yes, Falcon has actually conquered Africa, 9 times champion. This should not even be our conversation at this point. What he's saying is quite true. The girls will be the ones that will define that moment in Morocco if we're definitely going to come back home with that trophy. Yes, Madugu might actually have his own man management. He might actually have a way of putting the girls together to actually achieve results. But of course, from the get-go, we've already seen signs that there might be a problem. I mean, we have top players in the senior players in the team, but of course, Rashida Kadibade is actually the captain of the side. All of these things are, things that we might, get to see at the end of the day as problem in that particular team. But what I'm saying is, beyond this, I mean, we're going to the championship. Nigeria is going to the championship with an interim coach. It is an insult. These are the conversations that we should be having, because if we cannot look away from, yes, I understand the part where people might be saying, okay, Wadrom should just hold his own. Let's focus on the tournament. Yes, the tournament. What happens if we win it? Is it going to be a new feat? Is it what is so special about WAFCON at this point for the girls? I think the biggest piece we should be focusing on is at the global stage. Nigeria has no business around. I saw the last Coca-Cola FIFA ranking. It's quite sad. Nigeria has no business at that point anymore. We have to be around top 10, and if we cannot have a team where we have a manager who perhaps is given a good time to actually put the girls together, or do a project that we know that yes, this project is going to be Olympic centric or World Cup centric or any intercontinental championship. These are the sort of things we'll be talking about at this point. So whatever Wadrom is saying, this is what I actually saw from it. It's not about whether he's actually trying to chastise the regime. No, for what I see, all he's saying is the fact that yes, we have the talent already. It's really not about the coach. When it comes to AFCON, the girls will always deliver. What are we going to be doing after now? Anyway,
I enjoyed you very well, but let me just say this. When I think it was a Magic Phoenix time when the Super Falcons were already dominating the continent of Africa, and that was before 2018, the last time we won it, and the talk was that we need to start thinking global. We need to go get a foreign coach for the national team. And in all wisdom, the NFF, under Magic Pinnick, thought that Randy Wardrum was the El Dorado, the Holy Grail. They brought him. I was not happy with the fact that he was still going to keep his University of Pittsburgh job. And because I already saw that as a distraction, I never really encouraged that. I think the man must have done his research that the Super Falcons job is more or less like getting a job that you are always going to be owed salaries. Imagine he would have lost his family, like he said. Imagine not being able to foot his bills because of his commitment to a country who he doesn't belong to. He's not from. So on the nationalistic part, I didn't see that on the part of Wardrum. Yeah, he was not a home coach. A coach who was homely. Yeah, he was not really into the job. Let's just say it that way.
No, Jerry.
And wait. And he went to the WAFCON. He dropped the standard. Yeah, during his time, the standard dropped. We're losing focus, one.
You think it's
and two, Wadrum would have been able to, if it was Magudu, the issues that happened in the camp, he would have been able to manage it. Because
but you think it's Wadrum?
Yeah, no. I'm not professionally, Wadrum would have handled that situation and not let it escalate or affect their performance, because this is not the first time the Super Falcons players have been unhappy at the fact they're being owed their wages. Other local coaches will say, okay, let's play for the country first. Let's get the WAFCON. Don't worry, this money is going to be paid. He would have pacified the girls. But I know the handwriting of Wardrum saying, this is unprofessional. He will lash out because it's not his country.
True.
He believes that these are the standards that's supposed to be met. But what did we get? Even when I went to the World Cup, I just saw a little bit of something different, but not up there. So if Randy Wardrum is now telling us that the local coaches who have been conquering Africa, they are not good enough, I think I don't want to listen to that aspect.
I know. I ask if you think it's Wardrum fault. The big question we should be asking ourselves: Who was Wardrum before he came in as a Super Falcon coach? We've had coaches that have dominated the world, who have won World Cup, who have won the Olympics. Why can't we, even if it's the assistant coaches of one of those countries? See, female football is different from male football. The psychology behind female football is not the same as male football. Right. So there are people who understand how to actually manage, people, the female team. Get these people and bring them in. You see, you don't go to just get any foreigner because you actually want to conquer global stage. And this is why it goes back to the NFF. That's why I will say this. It is not Wardrum's fault. If you bring somebody who does not understand the job, it is your duty to actually know that this guy does not understand the job. The psychology behind female football is not the same as that of the male. So they brought Wardrum and they're expecting him to do magic. It's easy for our local lads, our local coaches to actually do it because, of course, we are all here together. Right. There's no way, how they say talk and say you go pull with it if you no work. You understand? You understand that yes, this now we. But when it comes to that level, professional football, there are people who are made for those sort of jobs. These are the people who we expect the NFF to go handle the job.
Not Randy Wardrum anyway. Anyway, we've gone past Randy, and of course, we are no longer Randy in the game. Randy, leave us alone. The relationship is over. No, move on. Move on and get a new girlfriend. Anyway, let's talk about the controversial information that is getting to us that former Nigerian under-23 coach Samson Siasia has revealed that he rejected a $50,000, that's approximately 91 million naira based on current exchange rate, bribe offer from John Obi Mikel's agent to include the midfielder and the squad for the Beijing 2008 Olympic Games, claiming the former Chelsea star refused to participate in the qualifiers. Siasia did not name Mikel's agent out, but it is known that UK-based Nigerian intermediary John Olashitu was managing the former Super Eagles captain at the time of the incident. Nigeria faced the risk of missing out on the 2008 Olympic Games and needed at least a draw against a star-studded Black Meteors side to stay in contention. Siasia has claimed that Mikel turned down an invitation to travel with the Dream Team to Accra for the crucial clash against Ghana, alleging the midfielder was a bench warmer at Chelsea. However, that narrative doesn't align with the fact that Mikel had started 4 consecutive Premier League matches before the showdown with the Black Meteors and another 5 immediately after the qualifier. Siasia explained that Mikel was not part of the team during the crucial Olympic qualifying campaign and only showed interest in joining the squad once qualification was secured. Yeah, I remember that that situation very well. And I think that Black Meteors game against the Ghana side, it pained Siasia to the bone, and he swore that even if heaven falls, Mikel wants to join this team to the Olympic, he was not going to pick him. And he stood his ground, and he told John Olashitu and said, no matter how, I didn't know about this money anyway, no matter what, I think even there was even pressure from the NFF.
Yes, huge pressure.
Even, I think the president was going to be involved. Nigerian fans were pleading with him.
Mikel.
Take Mikel to this, and everybody were waiting for him not to have done well.
Because I remember even in the last game, in Abuja, because that's how we played our last game, Mikel was in the stands. And after the game, Siasia was being interviewed, and he was like, these guys have done it, and this is the group that is going to the Olympics. If anybody's absent here, that person is not going to be part of it. And they were, the question was pushed to him: is Mikel going to be part of it? He says he's not part of the qualifiers, and bringing him in is going to disrupt the group. Mikel has always had that gate crashing what I call privilege for the Nigerian setup. I recall someone was talking about Mikel a couple of years ago, under 17. He was a part of under 17 in Finland. The person said that the screening was already done before Mikel came. If you also remember the under 20 that went the qualifiers, the Nations Cup in Benin Republic, Mikel was not part of it. But Mikel went to the World Cup. So he has always had that privilege of star boy. and definitely he's coming, and then he's going to prove his
he's big. Now, at that time when he joined Chelsea, he was already feeling big that he couldn't come and play qualifiers with the under 23, and he wanted to shine at the Olympics. Yeah. And every player wants to play at the Olympics at some point
because
in time.
It's the second highest for national team after the World Cup.
Yeah. So I think if you take a look at this whole scenario, it looks like Siasia has not forgotten what happened. He has not lived past that situation. And the fact that in 2008 he did not go, but I think they should have settled in the next Olympics. Or was it in 2012?
No, 2016 Rio.
Was it Rio 2016 or 2012?
2016 was the issue of ticket and 2016, Rio.
In 2016, that was 8 years after. CSS took Mikel to the Olympics. Yeah. You see that within that 8 years, they did not settle their scores, or something has pricked them again. I think Mikel saying that he sponsored the team, I think he has angered him and repealed old wounds. It seems like this saga will continue for a long time, but it's good that we're getting all this information now.
See, the thing is, I think the two gentlemen, they should sort out their issue. It doesn't make any sense. Why is Siasia talking about that situation 17 years after? It doesn't make any sense. There's a whole lot of things at the background that we don't know about, and that is coming up to the surface. The two of them, they are both adults. They should sort out their issue. However, let's address some key things that was said. First of all, kudos to Samson Siasia, and this is the kind of attitude we want our national team coach to have. Not a situation whereby a particular person will put a call through and the player will play for the national team. What Siasia said, was highlighted by, I think, whether it's Adebayo or some other Nigerian player that went to play for another country that was told to come and pay some amount of money to play for the national team. Remember, I shared the story about, the last one of our family who was into football, and they wanted him to come and play. And they said, "You go and bring $10,000, and that was the end of him playing for the under 17 of Nigeria. And an established player, an intermediary. I mean, obviously, not mention anybody's name, but an intermediary is coming to give him $50,000. Imagine in this kind of economy, and you don't even know, an NFF is owing you 2 months, 3 months salary. You don't even know where your next meal will come from, and a particular intermediary brings $50,000 to you. To fill the particular player. That money will go to your pocket, you will fill the player, and everybody will be happy. It goes a long way to speak about the corruption that has plagued our football. And I want to say kudos to Siasia for rejecting that temptation and for standing his ground. And I hope other coaches can follow through, with the same pattern, so that we can have people who are actually fit to be part of our national team, and not some people that will bribe their way into the national team. For Mikel and Siasia, they should go and solve their issue. They are both grown men. They should not be bringing up 17-year-old issue and be fighting over it. They should go and solve their issue and resolve it like a grown man.
Is Siasia trying to wash his image?
God bless you. That's exactly where I was going.
This is the same man that just went through a ban for being involved in trying to collect bribe to pick players. Thank you. How come all of a sudden he rejected $50,000 as at 2007?
God bless you.
Stroke 2008.
Let's clarify it. Remember, after that particular qualifier, and I'm saying this, and I'm giving you kudos, because after that qualifier, he clearly stated that even if the heaven comes down to come and beg him, anybody that is not part of that qualifier will not go. And he stood his ground, and we all knew who he was referring to. As per the other situation that involved him, obviously he was found guilty, but till now he has denied that he was giving a bribe.
The evidence is clear, but it's all good.
I did it too.
Anyway, he didn't collect the money anyway. It was just speculation.
He claimed
it was preempted.
He claimed that he did not collect.
Or the angel has fallen.
No, as at that time, maybe he needed the money. As at the time he rejected $50,000.
The issue of
he was really angry, so he didn't care about the amount.
I think this one was personal because he fancied this as an opportunity to upgrade his own career, to actually get to the Olympics, to go to Olympics and then upgrade his own career, because he understands that if he wins the Olympic, definitely it's going to be another level for him, right?
Imagine the Ghanaians,
he needs the best legs.
The Ghanaians brought in Asamoah Gyan.
Yeah, I remember how Asamoah Gyan was a terror in our defense. I think the dream team at that point, defense line, they were rock solid. They did a lot of work that day.
It would have been unfair to drop any of those players because you want to bring in Mikel.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's his own grouse. But anyway, for someone who was agreeing to collect some dollars, not wanting to collect $50,000 some years before that, or maybe he's not happy that he didn't collect the $50,000. If he had known,
I'll just collect
it so that Mikel would have just gone
and maybe he would have just won the Olympics.
Yeah, maybe would have won one of the Olympics, but it is what it is.
But the question should be, the thing is this: yes, he was found guilty and he has served his ban and the rest of that. However, the critical question is this: why are people, why do people request for money before talents are, before people make the national team? Why are some people bent on bribing their way to the national team? I mean, I'm sharing the personal experience here. Somebody very close to me, they just go and pay $10,000 to come and join the under-17, and that was the end of his football career. He said he will never play for Nigeria again if he has the opportunity to come back again, which does not make any sense. In as much as we might joke about and just it's a serious issue that people are driving their way.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
How is Tanimu getting to the national team?
No, Jerry. The thing is this, right? It will continue to happen until we have a proper talent pool where we get our players. We cannot expect players from nowhere. If you leave the camp to players from nowhere, it means somebody is going to be controlling that funnel. And if somebody is controlling that funnel,
if as good as Mikel was playing with Chelsea, his agent was offering $50,000. Imagine a Tanimu. Imagine a Tanimu.
Jerry.
What he will bring to be a part of the team.
The reason Mikel's
corruption in the system.
Jerry, the reason Mikel's agent was offering was not because of Mikel's talent. Was because Mikel failed to be part of the qualifiers.
It's
so
because
they feel they can actually find a way.
In the system.
Because
what the thing is that there's corruption in the system that emboldens people to know that this is the way. You get. You can't do that in the Spanish national team, even as unknown as Fuente going to the last Euros, picking the likes of Lamine Yamal and co. If he were to be Nigeria, I'm very sure that no matter how good Lamine Yamal is, he will not go to that Euros.
No,
because why? His agent might not be buoyant enough to bribe his way as much as bigger players who want to be a part of the team. I'm putting in a Nigerian situation. An agent will not be bold enough to go and bribe his
already established in La Liga.
Calm down, wait.
So they pick their pool from their league.
Wait, you no go and think about bribing. See, if John Alashitu was Mikel's agent and Mikel was eligible to play for Spain at the Olympics and he failed to turn out the qualifiers,
no, he won't do that.
Would he be bold enough to call Fuente and say,
I'm saying,
I want to give $50,000?
We don't have the proper talent pool for under 23.
See,
it was on under 23.
Even if you have the talent pool, okay, if you have talent pool,
I know that.
The coaches. Is it not even recently Salisu Yusuf was also found wanting? It's a trend among the coaches, just that who was caught. That's what we know. They know coach. The one that Mario is talking about now.
Even in league clubs.
If he tells you the name of the coach now, you'll be shocked.
Jerry, even in league clubs.
Because the standard.
Agents pay for players to be signed. In fact, some players get signed on bargains.
I handled the story.
50,000 naira is your salary. You will be getting 15,000 naira, and the coach will get this amount, and agent will get this amount.
When I was on radio, I was one who broke the story that Sonduba, after coming back from the Nations Cup.
Okay, from
the Nations Cup. He was the big boy then. There was an issue about who owned his contract. I think it was it a Yimba also? And he was loaned to Rangers. Prior to the Nations Cup. So when he was now signing the Nations Cup, the manager of Rangers, the general manager of Rangers, told me live on radio that he was bought on credit. Not like they paid, not like his loan, no, his credit that don't worry, I will pay when I have money. I almost stumbled on air. I was like, I want to control myself. How do a player you borrow him on credit and that when you have money you will pay? Because as at the time he was struggling with injuries and so on and so on. No, now that he has shown like a million stars at the Nations Cup, anybody now said he's now their player. That and though we signed that you are going to pay when you have money, I don't want. Let's cancel that contract. He's now my player. I want him back. Rangers now said, no, you've already signed it. I will pay you whatever. If I sell him now, I'll pay you whatever I am owing you. Not what is value of the player at the moment. See, it became an issue. I think the NFF, everybody, even FIFA was involved. It was a drama. That's how Nigerian football is. Serious drama. A lot of things that are not supposed to happen happens in this time.
So we agree that the club side is now the reflection of the national team. Because
if you are a reflection of where you are coming from,
exactly,
the society you belong to.
If it happens at the club level,
yes,
then of course, then of course in the national team level, that's exactly what the situation will be like. So that's why I'm saying that the case of Mikel, right? The case of Mikel, the coach offering is not because they want a player to just come part of the national team setup. It's because Mikel failed. Because let's even forget the fact that Mikel's agent offered, according to Siasia. Let's forget that. The country itself, was appealing to Siasia because how good, Mikel would have been for that particular team at that point. So this is not a case of just a case of bribe. It's actually a case of the disrespect that comes with wearing the national color, and that's exactly where I'm really faulting Mikel, because me personally I would have expected Mikel to stay away from the national team since he decided not to be part of the qualifiers.
All right, it is what it is. Anyway, if you give me 3 hours to talk about Nigerian football, you will laugh and you will laugh and you will drop from your chairs, and sometimes you could even get angry, but it is what it is. But let's talk about the Club World Cup. Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola was left to rue his side's inability to capitalize on a host of first-half chances as the Premier League side suffered a shock elimination from the Club World Cup against Saudi Arabia's Al Hilal on Monday. Marcus Leonardo scored twice, including the 112-minute winner as Riyadh based out it won 4-3 on extra time. In extra time, I beg your pardon, in Orlando, with the first half performance of goalkeeper Yassine Bono proving pivotal in Al Hilal's win. They say the rest is history. So it is what it is. I even saw a tweet where the Al Hilal players were saying they were mocking them because they joined the Saudi league, but look at what happened and so on and so forth. But I think with all due respect, those players said that Al Hilal side, not just wash-up players. Of course, they still have some quality in that side. Let's not forget Khalidou Koulibaly still has it. He scored a goal in that game. And they have a Champions League finalist on their side as their coach, talking about Inzaghi. So they still have what it takes, but of course, City Road, I will underrated them. I will put it that way.
So it's football, and this is one of the reasons why football story will always be interesting. These are the spices of football. If this sort of thing doesn't happen in major tournament or championship, the story is usually not complete. I mean, we saw Argentina coming on the back foot of over 30 games unbeaten before the World Cup. The first game against Saudi Arabia, they were beaten 2-0, and it was a shocker, right? Everybody felt, right, will Argentina even make it past the group stage? Eventually, they won the World Cup. It is part of football. So when I saw it, I was like, okay, it's one of those games, and I mean, Man City actually, wasted their chance, and I mean, kudos to Yassine Bono. He actually lived up to. I think he really did well as a goalkeeper and showed that yes, Africa still has, one of the best goalkeepers in the world. He gave, the kind of performance that the Argentine goalkeeper Martinez will always give in this sort of occasion to actually save his team. It was a very brilliant game, but then of course, I would not even take this as a measure of what Man City is capable of doing. Football can actually happen to anyone, and upset is part of the beautiful game.
All right, Maiwa will send Man City out, and of course, Al Hilal, they are so excited, but that doesn't mean they are going to win it. They have a lot of hurdles to take. But what does this say about Man City going into the new season?
The Yorubas will say, Omonola and Rosina, João Cancelo was part of the Al Hilal team. He was one that gave the true pass that led to the second goal. And the relationship between João Cancelo and Pep Guardiola. He knew how he left that particular club. But in any case, I think the way Man City played, I think it will probably be a reflection of their season. First of all, they need to do away with their goalkeeper. Number two, the way Guardiola set up yesterday. Apart from the fact that they missed a whole lot of chances in the first half, the highlight they are trying to play did not work for them, and that was something that Al Hilal exploited, to score goals. There is a need for them to sort out their defensive situation. Yes, yesterday was a bit bad for them in front of goals. Sometimes you might be barren in front of goals some days. However, the defense line yesterday was in terrible shape, and there's a need for them to do something about it. Rodri is not back to his full form yet. He's still trying to rack up the minutes, but I can see him getting back. But the defense line needs to be worked on if they want to be challenging Liverpool for the EPL next season.
All right, it is what it is. Wish them all the best, but definitely not going to be good enough. If this is what they're going to present in the run-up to the title race in England, and in spite of the money they spent, I've still not seen a team worthy of challenging for the Premier League title. I don't know. Maybe time has caught up with them.
Like I said, this sort of games, upset like this it should not be a measure. And preseason top teams actually lose games. So I think, every game is an opportunity to actually learn something. Every game is an opportunity to actually make your team better.
All right.
Pep Guardiola is an OG in this game, so yes, I want to believe that he's going to actually tweak it. He also mentioned defensive lapses as one of the major problems. So of course, definitely he's going to be looking into it.
All right, time really fast, and we just have to go big thanks Maiwa, big thanks to Ikechukwu, and big thanks to the guys behind the scene talking about lines of Shegun, Sam, Jeremiah, and of course Ikechukwu for making the show awesome. My name is Jerry Apelai, saying stay safe, and if not for anything at all, do it the sports way.